Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. While some others may be logging in, that's okay. We'll start with some introductions. So thank you for joining us today for the third Assembly Bill 744 Transportation Data Program Workshop. We'll start off with a few introductions. My name is Sheila Innes. I am the Transportation Data Program Manager for at the Commission for AB 744. Also in attendance is Matthew Yazgat, the Deputy Director for SB1 programs, Beverly Newman Burkhart, the Program Manager for Trade Corridors Enhancement Program, and Ken Lopez, our Research Data Specialist for the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. So before we get started, Ken Lopez will be providing an overview of the logistics of the workshop itself.
Thank you, Sheila. Welcome to the Assembly Bill 744 Transportation Data Program second public workshop. The CTC exists to make transportation planning, funding, and policy more understandable and accountable. Our workshops take place in diverse locations around the state, so the commissioners and staff can hear directly from our stakeholders around California. We're pleased to now offer hybrid and fully virtual workshops to allow our stakeholders the opportunity to participate more fully, no matter where you're at. The workshop agenda is located in our website at www.catc.ca.gov and is linked in the chat. Live closed caption is available on this webinar. Please select the Show Captions tab at the bottom of your screen. There are a number of language options available there to choose from. Any document the CTC creates can be translated into any language you need. Simply email us at ctc@catc.ca.gov, and we will have them returned to you as quickly as possible. We welcome questions and comments throughout the workshop. You should see the webinar control panel likely located at the bottom of your screen. There you will find the Q&A tab and the raise hand feature. You may submit a question or comment using the Q&A tab. Commission staff will read your question on your behalf. Alternatively, you can use the raise hand feature to ask a question or make a comment. When asking a question, please make sure to state your name and agency. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. So on our agenda today, I'll provide a quick overview of Assembly Bill 744, engagement insights to date, draft implementation options, and the recommendation of the Commission, as well as a summary of stakeholder feedback received. So first, let's take a look at the AB 744 overview. So the key objectives for AB 744 are outlined in this slide. They are to assess existing tools, identify data needs, and identify a path forward. These objectives will guide our discussion today. Let's jump right into engagement findings. So feedback gathered through stakeholder engagement offered critical insights into the current environment of data access, use, and capacity across agencies. To ensure broad representation and meaningful input, we used a multi-method approach to engage stakeholders, including virtual meetings, conducting multiple surveys, and holding multiple workshops, including this one. Our stakeholders included the metropolitan planning organizations, regional transportation planning agencies, members of the Rural Counties Task Force, congestion management agencies, and self-help agencies, vendors, other state DOTs, and state agency members of the Housing and Transportation Subcommittee, which includes the Department of Housing and Community Development, the Air Resources Board, CalSTA, Caltrans, Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, Strategic Growth Council, the Department of Finance, and Business Consumer Services and Housing agencies. This engagement has helped us identify gaps early and ultimately align our strategy moving forward. So next, I'd like to briefly cover some key insights that were derived from our engagement. As we take a look at the assessment of existing tools, Please keep in mind that these findings represent a general summary of leading results and does not capture all of the vendors within the industry. So the top 3 reported outputs were travel time, vehicle miles traveled, and safety. The top 3 tools reported as being utilized for planning were Replica, ArcGIS, and INRIX. Other data tools noted in the survey were Streetlight, RIDIS, StreetSaver, Locus, Performance Measurement System, or PEMS, Placer AI, Teralytics, and the National Performance Management Research Dataset, or NPMRDS. The top and only 3 reported modeling tools being utilized were Bentley Cube, Caliper CAD, and EMI. And through our research, stakeholders have identified a broad range of data needs, highlighting several common challenges that could prevent the effective implementation of AB 744. And these challenges included limited technical expertise and staff capacity, as well as insufficient funding. So we also found that there was a reoccurring priority among agencies for the need to standardize data sets to reduce duplication efforts and improve consistency across jurisdictions. In addition to these challenges, stakeholders also highlighted wide disparities in available funding, which significantly affects their ability to procure data, tools, and services. So next we'll take a look at the previous draft implementation options as well as the recommended. So first, focusing on previous draft implementation options. Implementation option 1 was an agency-led procurement option where competitive funding would be administered to allow individual agency access. A state agency could administer a competitive grant program, awarding funds to agencies for the procurement of data and modeling tools independently. The agency could also explore creating a mechanism that allows multiple agencies to apply jointly as a consortium, which would foster cost sharing and more equitable access to advanced tools. In implementation option 2, it provided a centralized access model in which a state agency could purchase software licenses in coordination with the Department of General Services. And then they'd allocate access to state, regional, and local agencies. In draft implementation option 3, this is the hybrid option that combines the benefits of a competitive funding program with the efficiency of centralized procurement. So under this option, the state agency would allocate funds to eligible agencies through a competitive process, which would allow agencies the flexibility to procure data and modeling tools that best meet their specific needs. This hybrid approach balances local autonomy with state-level coordination and purchasing power, which makes tools more accessible. The designated state agency could also explore establishing a mechanism that allows multiple agencies to apply jointly as a consortium. And so the findings from the stakeholder engagement revealed persistent gaps in data accessibility, funding support, and standardization of tools and practices across the state. To address these challenges in alignment with the goals of AB 744, Commission staff recommends supporting the hybrid option 1 and 2, which is competitive funding program and centralized procurement. So before we open up the floor for additional feedback, I'd like to briefly provide a summary of feedback we had previously received from our last workshop, as well as a draft proposal that was posted in June. So during the last workshop, which was on May 6th, attendees provided feedback on an alternative to the proposal implementation options that were presented, which ultimately informed the development of a hybrid model. So stakeholders also proposed the formation of a consortium to facilitate interagency collaboration and shared access to tools and resources. And as a result of this feedback, the draft proposal was then updated to include those 2 items. On June 13th, we posted the draft proposal for review, and during the 30-day comment period, we received comment letters from a handful of metropolitan planning organizations, regional transportation planning agencies, the California Association of Council of Governments, as well as a member of the Rural Counties Task Force. Common themes that emerged among the letters received were broad support expressed for the hybrid option, encouragement to prioritize foundational and widely used tools, Also, encouragement for interagency collaboration and peer learning. And many of the letters also included generalized input that may help shape future guidance or program guidelines. This feedback will be very useful if and when the program is created. So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or feedback from attendees. Please keep in mind that any feedback gathered today will be considered. However, we're unable to guarantee that it will be incorporated into the final proposal, but feel free to raise your hand or use a chat feature to ask questions or share any additional feedback. Once we've completed this section, we will move on to the next steps. So as a quick reminder, if you raise your hand to speak, please state your name and agency. And go ahead and raise your hand anytime if anybody has any questions or feedback. Okay.
I'm not seeing any hands yet, Sheila.
Okay, thanks, Beverly. We can go ahead and go into the next steps. And if anyone has any questions, just feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. Okay, so let's talk about where we go from here. So the final proposal will be posted on the commission's website on August 1st. And 2 weeks later, it will be presented at the August commission meeting for approval. Once approved, we anticipate the commission will submit the proposal to legislature by September. And then once the proposal is submitted to the legislature, we will continue to monitor the legislative process and stay engaged as it moves forward. So updates will be shared through our AB 744 stakeholder email list as they become available. And at the end of this presentation, I'll share a slide with my contact information. If you're not yet on that distribution list, just shoot me an email, let me know, and I can add you. So while the proposal will be in the hands of the legislature at that point, the commission will remain involved and continue working with legislative partners to determine whether they wish to advance a proposal or allocate resources for it. So that concludes my presentation. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly if you think of anything after this workshop. My contact information is listed here, and I'll open up one more time. If there's anyone that would like to provide any feedback or ask any questions, please raise your hand, state your name and agency. Otherwise, we really...
questions, Sheila.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, there is no questions.
Oh, no question. Thanks, Ken. Okay, Beverly or Matthew, if you guys have anything you'd like to add, I'll go ahead and end it.
Yeah, Sheila, maybe I'll just add one thing because I know we've gotten a few attendees that have joined in the last 14 minutes. So our intention this morning was really just to offer one more opportunity if any of our stakeholders that have been following this process along had any final feedback. As Sheila mentioned earlier in this presentation, we did have kind of a recommended option for the hybrid approach, the hybrid option, when Sheila presented to the commission back in June. So I'm just confirming with the group that's on attendance right now, that will be the proposed alternative when Sheila gets the final proposal posted on August 1st. And we arrived at the hybrid option based on the feedback that we did receive through our public comment period, which I believe concluded on July 13th. But as Sheila also mentioned, if you have any additional input or feedback that you would like us to consider, it also does not have to be just for the proposal that we are bringing to the commission meeting in August and to submit to the legislature. If you have any input that you would like us to consider, if this does get picked up as a program with resources through the legislative process, as Sheila mentioned, we'll accept that as well. We've already been getting some feedback on how we could implement a program, and that will help us kind of prepare for hitting the ground running if this ends up moving through the legislature. So really appreciate everyone's attention on this important process over the past several months. But we really could not have built this proposal without the input that we've received from our expert stakeholders, because This is somewhat newer territory for the commission, but I think Sheila would agree with me that we are very comfortable and confident moving forward with this hybrid approach in our proposal to the legislature. So thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Matthew. Okay, with that, we do truly appreciate your time today, and this recording will be posted on our website in case you want to watch the whole thing. We look forward to sharing as more things develop. But for that, we'll go ahead and end the workshop and have a great day.